Thomas Warrick, who is the former Deputy Assistant Secretary at U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and he joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us here on the NewsHour today. Now, what are Putin's options moving forward, given that he is losing ground to Ukraine in the regions that he is supposedly to annex?
Well, his options are getting more and more desperate and show signs of recognition that his offensive has failed and his aggression now leaves Russia isolated diplomatically. This attempt to annex 4 Ukrainian provinces against the will not just of the government of Ukraine, but of most of the people who live there, was covered up by a sham referendum. It's totally clear that this was not actually what the people of that region wanted. And so I think we will see continued efforts. For example, he has been threatening the use of nuclear weapons, which would be something horrible. And he's continuing to try to pressure Europe to drop its support for the Ukrainian people.
Right. There are reports of a nuclear military train that is actually headed for Ukraine's front line. Do you really think that the loss that he's experiencing in the battlefield will lead him to use nuclear weapons?
This is one of those things that gets into his psychology, and really only Putin knows whether he will actually go that far. The United States and NATO have made it very clear that the consequences of such a move would be even more dramatic than anything that has been seen to date, and that quite literally all options are on the table. Some people think this might mean the United States would go even more into support for Ukraine and its military, and that a number of other European governments have signaled the same thing. So Putin could find himself facing even more weapons from NATO countries, even more advanced technology.
Right, and Ukraine has made significant gains on the battlefield with partly due to the weapons assistance that they've been receiving from the U.S. and their other allies. Do you think they'll continue on this course of success in Russian-held areas?
So Putin's call up of 300,000 reservists doesn't actually mean that Russian forces will get better on the battlefield. We've seen signs in the way the Russians simply abandoned their positions and ran away, that many Russian soldiers have realized there's no point dying for Putin's ambition. And even though, because of Putin's control of propaganda and media inside Russia, the real truth of what has been going on in Ukraine is being hidden from the Russian people. Increasingly, what we're seeing is the recognition that this is not going to be something that will be good for Russia. And I think what President Zelensky is hoping for is that someone in Moscow will take the reins of power away from Putin and negotiate a peace that the Ukrainians can accept.
All right, Thomas Warrick, thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour and sharing that analysis with us.